Good morning. I'm back in the Mourne Mountains, and the crappy weather has been continuing. So the last time I was out, there was a gap of maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and it's the same this time. It's just been rain and wind all the way. So today's Sunday, and the weather's to sort of quieten down today. It's a bit windy, but it's to be dry. And I'm off tomorrow Monday, so I'm heading up into the Mournes to camp somewhere, and I'm sort of taking a different path in than I'm used to. I've started at Dunani Bridge, and there's a water service road that I'm following up into the mountains, and I'm going to pick up the Annalong River, and then I'll see where I go from there. Well, I think part of this trip is going to be about exploring, because this is an area that I haven't really been to before. So I'm going to take a bit of time and sort of suss it out. And there's this really cool old farmhouse, which isn't in use, though I've had a look in, and I can see there's a kitchen with cups and stuff. So it's maybe used at certain times of the year. But it's just in such a cool place here. You can see just sort of heading right into the mountains. What's cool about here as well, I've seen 2 red squirrels on the way in. They've been a bit too fast to capture, but really cool seeing those. It's not often you see them in Northern Ireland, and there's not many places that they're about. And there's an even older building just beside the farmhouse I've shown you. I don't know if that was one for living in or maybe one for storing stuff in. Who knows? So there's a series of weirs here damming up the flow of the Annalong River. There's one just there, and there's one just up there a bit. And from memory, I could be wrong, okay, so if I am, I'm sure you'll let me know, but from memory, water is diverted from the Annalong River through into the next valley, where the Silent Valley and the Ben Crom Reservoirs hang out. So it's actually really cool. I've never been up here before, so just to come up and be noticing all these things related to water and water infrastructure. So I'm out on the open hill. I've left the forest, which is a popular wee spot for dog walkers. You can see the Annalong River there, looking more like a mountain river. So I passed 3 weirs, and the biggest one is just down there, and actually the one where a lot of the river is being diverted through the Binnian Tunnel, and that was built in the late 40s, early 50s. So instead of damming up this valley, the Annalong Valley, the way they'd done the Silent Valley, they decided to divert some of the river, and actually goes 2 miles, and it goes through that mountain there, which is Slieve Binnian, and it looks like, just from reading the notices, it was quite some feat of engineering away back in the day. Not sure how safe it was in terms of working conditions and hard hats and safety boots now. So I'll follow the Annalong River up a bit and see where that takes me. Sun's come out and made everything even more beautiful than it already was. Absolutely stunning. Just following the Annalong River up here. Beautiful stuff. That's the Annalong River away down the bottom of the valley there. I've left it and I've been following another wee river up towards Rocky Mountain and the Hare's Castle, and if you can see over there, this is another area where there's quarrying has happened in the Mournes. Quite a few areas where they've quarried out the granite, which is really high quality, but this is a nice wee walk heading up along this other river, and I'll probably head up to the top of Rocky Mountain. It was really windy at the top of Rocky Mountain. I've dropped off here down to the Mourne Wall, which you can see, and that's heading all the way up to the top of Sleeve Donard. So there's a wee bit more shelter here. That cool mountain there is Chimney Rock Mountain. So I think my plan is to follow the wall to the call, and then pick up the brandy pad and follow it around, maybe somewhere towards Ben Crom, Silent Valley direction, so the other valley, on over where I'm at the moment, the one with the tunnel goes through the mountain, but I'll see. I have options, which is really cool. I've reached the call. There's Chimney Rock and there's Sleeve Donard. So as I say, I'm going to leave the wall and I'm going to head along the brandy pad. It's been really quiet today for Sunday. I've only met literally 2 or 3 people so far. It's 3:30. You can maybe see away over there towards Sleeve Binnian. You have that sense that the sun's gone down, so it's dark about maybe 4:30. We're towards the end of November, so there'll probably be a wee bit of walking in the dark by the head torch, but that's a really cool way to walk as well. Over in the next valley, so that's Ben Crom, and you can see Ben Crom Reservoir down there. So I've left Annalong well behind, and I'll probably drop down to camp somewhere either along the Kilkeel River or along the reservoir. And why not? Sure, it's one of my favourite spots in the Mournes, and hopefully it can be a bit of shelter as there is still a wee bit of a gusty wind about. That is the drop as the night goes on. So the plan was to drop down from the Hare's Gap down to the reservoir. As I started dropping, I just thought, no, I'm going to stay up high. So what I've done, I've contoured around the side of Sleafburna, and that's going to take me high above Ben Crom Reservoir, and I'm going to go to the wee campsite beside the river that I've camped at a couple of times, so I'll keep the height and hopefully get a wee bit of shelter as well. So I've made it to camp. It's just about 6 o'clock, so that's a couple of hours walking in the dark to get from the brandy pad, about an hour and a half maybe, to get from the brandy pad over here near Ben Crom and just beside the river. Lovely clear sky, it's not too cold, there is a bit of shelter here. So that hopefully bodes well for a decent night's sleep. Those have been in short supply, pretty hungry. I'll get something in the go, and I did fill my water bottles because I just wasn't sure where I was going to camp, whether I was going to go a bit higher or what. So I've got those, and obviously I've got the river right beside me, so I can drink tea to my heart's content. You know, all those cups of tea that I said I was going to have, what have I forgotten? I've forgotten the stove, man. So dinner was cold tuna and a bar of chocolate, no lovely hot noodles and no tea. Just some cold, and talking about really cold water, near off brain freeze. So not much left to do except get in the bivy bag. So happy enough with the way I'm set up here. I've got my down booties. Again, thank you to Graham for sending me those. I'll get those on. And hopefully that'll keep my feet warm. With the clear sky, end of November, I do think it'll be quite low single figures for the temperature tonight. But hopefully that'll all be cool when I'm tucked up inside the sleeping bag and the bivy bag. So a cold good night without any warm tea or warm food. Lesson learned. And you know what, I was thinking about this yesterday. I didn't pack yesterday because it did give it to be quite windy down in the Mournes, and I was a decision made this morning, so I packed this morning. If I had went with packing last night and gone through everything in my head, I probably would have brought the stove. So it was just that last minute decision making, and again, that's back to the hemming and hawing that I've talked about before, but it's always easier to sort of not go rather than go, but hey, it's all good. So good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It's a cold one this morning, a wee touch of frost knocking about. There was a couple of rain showers last night, I didn't have a good night's sleep at all, and I think that was maybe partly to do with the fact that I didn't have my usual tea and hot food. I don't think that helped me at all. So it was a long 13 hours in the bivy bag, but the sun is just coming around the side of Slievenamon there, and I'm feeling a wee bit of heat. There's nothing worse than putting on boots that have got frost on the outside of them. It's not great for the toes. So no hot food this morning either, just with not having the stove. So I think it's probably a banana and some cold water, like prison rations, and then I'll be on my way. I think my toes have just about started to thaw out after about half an hour or so. But again, I think this is a really cool time of year. So it's the end of November, and you can get these really cold nights. And then when the sun comes up, and today's a lovely day, it's lovely and still, and all that sort of wind we've had over the past few weeks has disappeared, and hopefully we're in for a wee bit more of a settled spell of weather. But it actually feels gloriously warm, even though it probably isn't, just with the lack of air moving and the heat of the sun is just lovely. So this is a wee camp spot. I've used this a few times. It's in pretty good shape. I can see evidence of other people have been about, but it's pretty clean, and that's the way I'm going to leave it. And again, that's following the leave no trace principles. So that's the first bit of climbing of the day up Ben Crom, and it's a really beautiful morning. Really just the gentlest of breezes. The air's still cold, the heat of the sun. You can see where clouds started to, and mist has started to bubble up sort of through the valleys and over the tops, probably before it clears. Really cool. Hey, worth a cold night in the bivvy. With no tea. that's down to Silent Valley Reservoir, and when I was here maybe 6 weeks ago, a lot more of the shoreline was showing, so at the minute there's pretty much none of it, which tells me the reservoir is well full, as is Ben Crom, and that ties in with just the weather pattern we've been having over maybe, it's probably the past 2 months or so, where it's just been low pressure after low pressure, just stalling over the top of us, and just wind and rain. Hasn't been great at all, and I've only been out wild camping twice in the past couple of months, which certainly isn't what I would usually be doing, about more than that. But so I keep saying, no matter where I start in the Mournes, I usually end up here at the reservoirs. And this route I took, it was quite a convoluted one to get here, so again, not sure what's drawing me here all the time, but I think I've said before, it is like right in the heart of the mountains, and it's such a really cool place. I'm back at the Annalong River in Annalong Valley, where I started out yesterday, and I'll just have to cross over here, and then I'll pick up the forest track that'll take me back to where I started. And it's still an absolutely beautiful day. You can see up to Sleeve Lamigan, and there's still a lot of that mist blowing in and clinging around the tops, but it's really cool looking. Really good about again. Again, a break of maybe 4 or 5 weeks, just because of the weather from this trip and the last, and that was the same before. And when there's a window, take it, and I did, and it was a cool wee trip. Bit rubbish forgetting the stove, to be honest. Forgot my phone as well, but I managed. I'll look forward to a cup of tea and something to eat whenever I get home. But and nice exploring some, again, different areas in the Mournes, returning to a familiar campsite. So all in all, a good trip. Definitely cold weather here, touch of frost last night, but that's okay. The early down booties did the job. So as always, it's good to be out, and I'll see you again. Just giving you another look at the Mourne Wall. Look at that. Wow. What an amazing bit of work up here in the Mourne Mountains. Absolutely fantastic.